Amara's hands trembled as she stared at her phone screen. The hospital's fluorescent lights made everything feel colder, harsher, more real. Her son Elijah lay sleeping in the emergency room bed, his small chest rising and falling with difficulty. The doctor's words still echoed, "Stage 3 kidney failure. He needs a transplant within 60 days. 60 days to find a donor. 60 days to raise $300,000. 60 days she didn't have." Amara scrolled through her contacts, past friends who'd already helped too much, past family who had nothing left to give. Then she saw it. The name she'd sworn never to look at again. Kang Jae-sung. The man who'd loved her, promised her forever, then vanished when she needed him most. The
I can't
father
believe
Elijah
this.
had never met.
Why is
Her
this
finger
happening
hovered
now?
over his name, pride battling desperation. Elijah coughed in his sleep, and the decision made itself. She typed 4 words that would change everything. "Our son is dying." 12 hours earlier, everything had been almost normal. Amara had kissed Elijah goodbye before her double shift at the diner. He'd complained about homework, made her laugh with his terrible jokes, hugged her tight before running to catch the school bus. She'd worked until her feet ached, counting tips that never seemed enough, smiling at customers who barely saw her. When she got home at 10, Mrs. Buffmotter, Chen from next door, was waiting. Elijah collapsed at basketball practice, the elderly woman said, her face pale with worry. The school called an ambulance. Amara's world had tilted then. The emergency room, the tests, the devastating diagnosis. Now she sat alone in the waiting area, her phone feeling like a weapon in her hand. The text was sent. No taking it back. She'd broken her own promise, shattered her pride, and reached out to the ghost who destroyed her heart. All for her son. For Elijah, the boy who looked exactly like his father. The doctor appeared with a clipboard and an expression that promised more bad news. "Miss Thompson, we need to discuss treatment options." Dr. Park was kind, but direct. "Elijah's kidneys are failing faster than we initially thought. He'll need dialysis 3 times a week, starting immediately." Amara's stomach dropped. "How much will that cost?" "With your insurance, roughly $4,000 per month, plus medications, monitoring, and eventual transplant surgery." The numbers blurred together into an impossible mountain. The transplant itself, with anti-rejection drugs and recovery, will run between $250,000 and $350,000. Does Elijah's father have better insurance? Is he able to help financially? Amara's laugh was bitter. "I don't know where he is." The lie tasted wrong, especially now with that text sent. "We have social workers who can help you apply for assistance programs," Dr. Park continued gently.
From here, the city's
But Amara
possibilities are
barely heard.
endless.
Her mind
We must
was
seize
racing,
them now.
calculating, drowning. 4,000
From
a
here,
month
the
she
city's
didn't have.
possibilities are
A
endless.
transplant she couldn't
We must
afford.
seize them now.
And somewhere in Seoul, a man who could fix everything with one phone call was reading her message. Amara stared at the name on her phone, Kang Jae-sung. 5 years ago, that name had meant everything. Safety, passion, promises whispered in the dark. They'd met when he was in America on business. She'd been a grad student working nights to pay tuition. He'd walked into her diner, and something had just clicked. 3 months of intensity. He'd said he loved her in Korean before she knew what the words meant. Talked about bringing her to Seoul, building a life together. Then she'd gotten pregnant, and everything shattered. "I can't be a father," he'd said, his voice cold in a way she'd never heard before. "My life, my work, it's complicated, dangerous. You deserve better." He'd left money, too much money, like he was paying her to forget him. She'd torn up the check and never looked back. Raised Elijah alone, working 3 jobs, surviving on strength she didn't know she had. She'd promised herself she'd never need him, never contact him, never give him the power to hurt her again. But Elijah was dying, and pride couldn't save her son. 7,000 miles away in Seoul, Kang Jae-sung sat at the head of a marble conference table surrounded by 12 of the most dangerous men in Korea. Territory disputes, money laundering routes, traitor identification, the usual business of running an empire built in shadows. His phone buzzed once. He ignored it. Power meant control, and control meant never showing weakness. The phone buzzed again, then a third time. His lieutenant, Min Ho, glanced at him questioningly. Jae-sung retrieved the phone with irritation, prepared to silence whoever dared interrupt. Then he saw her name, Amara Thompson. His hand froze. The room continued discussing territorial boundaries, but Jae-sung heard nothing. 5 years of silence. 5 years of forcing himself not to think about her smile, her laugh, the way she'd looked at him like he was more than the monster he'd become. He opened the message. 4 words. Our son is dying. The phone slipped from his fingers and clattered onto the marble table. Every man in the room went silent. The Shadow Crown never dropped anything, never lost composure, never looked shattered. Until now. 6. The conference room vanished. Jae-sung was back in America, in that tiny apartment that smelled like vanilla candles and hope. Amara had told him about the pregnancy on a Tuesday. He remembered because Tuesdays had always been their day, his one day free from the darkness of his real life. I'm pregnant, she'd whispered, her hand on his chest, feeling his heartbeat. I know this is fast. I know we haven't talked about forever. But Jae-sung, I want this. I want us. He'd felt joy for exactly 10 seconds. Pure, terrifying joy. Then reality crashed back. His world, the violence, the enemies, the constant threat of death would consume her. She'd be targeted, used, destroyed. His own mother had died that way. His sister had barely survived. He couldn't let it happen again. So he'd lied, said he didn't want children, didn't want her, made himself cold, cruel, final. The look on her face had nearly broken him, but he'd left anyway, convinced himself it was mercy, protection, love. Now, sitting in his fortress, built on blood and fear, he understood the truth. He'd been a coward, and she'd raised his son alone. Jae-sung stood abruptly, sending his chair crashing backward. Meeting adjourned. His voice cut through the room like a blade. Sir, we haven't finished, Minho started. I said adjourned. The 12 men filed out silently. They'd learned never to question that tone. When the door closed, Jae-sung dialed Amara's number with shaking fingers. It rang once, twice. Hello? Her voice was exhausted, wary, achingly familiar. You said our son. His voice came out rougher than intended. I didn't know you were pregnant when you left. Silence stretched between them across continents and years. I found out 3 weeks after you disappeared, Amara finally said. I tried to tell you, called the number you gave me. It was disconnected. You were just gone. Tell me everything. His name is Elijah. He's 4 years old. He has your eyes, your stubbornness, your smile, and his kidneys are failing. Her voice cracked. I swore I'd never ask you for anything, but he needs a transplant, Jae-sung. The surgery costs $300,000. I've sold everything, worked myself into the ground. It's not enough. It'll never be enough. Jae-sung closed his eyes. I'm coming. No. Amara's response was immediate. I don't want you here. I just need money. Wire the funds, then disappear again like you're so good at doing. Her bitterness cut deep, but Jae-sung had earned every ounce of it. You're lying, he said quietly. About what? About there being a son. This is revenge for me leaving. I understand, but you think I'd lie about a dying child? Amara's voice went cold with fury. You think I'd stoop that low? I have nothing to gain from this, Jae-sung. Nothing. My pride is already destroyed just calling you. My heart already broke 5 years ago. I'm asking because my son, our son, is going to die without help. I need proof. Of course you do. Her laugh was hollow, because trusting me was never your strong suit. Amara, check your email in 5 minutes, then decide if your son is worth saving. She hung up. Jae-sung stared at his phone,
Help, my
then
baby,
at Minho,
please
who
help!
quietly
We're
returned.
coming! Bring her here!
I need a complete background
And
check
daughter
on Amara
inside now!
Thompson. Chicago
Help, my
address.
baby, please
Everything
help!
from the
We're
last
coming!
5
Bring
years.
her here!
4 minutes later, the
And
email
daughter
arrived.
inside now!
One attachment,
Help,
a
my
photo.
baby!
We're
A
here!
beautiful
Let
boy
us
with
take the
Jae-sung's
child!
exact
Please take
face
us!
smiled at the
Lead the
camera,
way!
gap-toothed and joyful. The world tilted. Jae-sung couldn't breathe. The child in the photo was undeniable. His eyes, his bone structure, even the way he smiled with his whole face. Elijah Thompson. 4 years old, dying, his son. He'd convinced himself Amara was lying because accepting the truth meant accepting unforgivable failure. He'd abandoned his own child, left Amara to struggle alone, missed 4 years of his son's life. Boss? Minho's voice was careful. What do you need? A plane to Chicago, now, and a full medical team on standby. Sir, leaving the country right now with the territory disputes. I don't care. Jae-sung's voice was steel. My son is dying. Everything else can wait. Minho nodded and left to make arrangements. Alone, Jae-sung enlarged the photo. Elijah wore a basketball jersey, his grin wide despite the hospital bracelet on his small wrist. When had this photo been taken? How long had he been sick? What else had Jae-sung missed? He called Amara back. I believe you, he said when she answered. I'm sorry, I'm flying to Chicago tonight. I told you. I'm not asking permission. He's my son too. I'm coming. Silence. Quietly. Okay. What Jae-sung didn't know, his enemies were already listening. In a luxury apartment across Seoul, Park Sang-min smiled as he reviewed the intercepted phone call. Kang Jae-sung had a weakness, an heir, a son in America, unprotected and vulnerable. This changed everything. How reliable is this information? Sang-min asked his intelligence officer. Confirmed through 3 sources. The woman is Amara
Please,
Thompson,
you have
age
to let me
28,
see them.
single mother,
Ma'am, you
working
need to
class.
leave now.
The child is Elijah Thompson, age
Please,
4,
don't send me
currently
away.
hospitalized
You have
with
to
kidney
leave
failure.
now.
Cut.
Sang-min's mind
Go.
raced with possibilities. Jae-sung controlled
Please,
40%
you have to let
of
me see
Seoul's
them.
underground
Ma'am,
operations.
you need to leave now.
Untouchable because he had no family to leverage,
Please,
no loved ones
don't
to
send me
threaten.
away.
Until
You have
now.
to leave now.
Don't
Cut.
touch them yet,
Go.
Sang-min ordered. Let Jae-sung go to America. Let him get comfortable. Then we move. His lieutenant nodded. What's the play? Kidnapping would be too obvious. Instead, we make sure the boy doesn't get his transplant. Let nature do the work. Jae-sung will be destroyed by grief, distracted, vulnerable. Then we take everything. Sung-min looked at Elijah's photo. Sometimes the best revenge is patience. 14 hours later, Jae-sung walked into Chicago Memorial Hospital, flanked by 4 men in dark suits. The staff stared. Visitors didn't usually arrive with private security details. Amara met him in the pediatric wing hallway. 5 years had changed her. She was thinner, harder,
These levels are
with
higher than I'd
exhaustion
like.
carved into
What
her
does that mean,
beautiful
doctor?
face.
It indicates
But
a
her eyes
potential
still
risk. We
held
need more
fire.
tests.
You
When?
came, she
The
said
results are back.
unnecessarily.
It's more
I said I
serious than we
would.
thought.
How serious?
They
What does
stood
it
in
mean?
awkward
We need to
silence,
discuss treatment
an
options
ocean of hurt
immediately.
between them. He's sleeping, Amara finally said. The dialysis makes him tired. You can see him, but Jae-sung, she hesitated. He doesn't know about you. I told him his father was gone. I didn't want him hoping for something impossible. I understand. Do you? Her voice cracked. Do you understand what it's like telling your son why he doesn't have a daddy? Making excuses for a man who chose to disappear? No, but I'm here to fix it. You can't fix 5 years with money. I know, but I can save his life, then spend the rest of mine making up for the time I stole from both of you. Amara searched his face for lies and found only raw honesty. Room 412. Be gentle. He's fragile right now. Jae-sung pushed open the door to room 412. His son lay sleeping, small and pale against white sheets, connected to machines that beeped steadily. Tubes ran from his small arm. Medical equipment surrounded him. He looked so fragile, so breakable. Jae-sung's carefully constructed walls crumbled. This was his child, his blood, his responsibility, and he was failing him. He pulled a chair beside the bed and sat, afraid to touch, afraid to wake him, afraid of everything. You can hold his hand, Amara said softly from the doorway. He won't break. Jae-sung carefully took Elijah's small hand in his. It was warm, alive, perfect. Hi, son, he whispered. I'm sorry I wasn't here. I'm sorry for everything, but I'm here now, I promise. Elijah stirred, his eyes fluttering open. He looked at Jae-sung with confusion, then at Amara. Mama? Who's this? Amara came to the bedside, her expression torn. This is your father, baby. He came to help you get better. Elijah studied Jae-sung seriously. Then, with devastating simplicity, he asked, Are you going to leave again? Jae-sung's heart shattered. Never. I promise you, Elijah. Never again. Over the next 3 days, Jae-sung moved mountains. The best transplant surgeon in America was flown to Chicago. Elijah was moved to a private suite with round-the-clock nursing. Every bill was paid before it arrived. Amara watched the transformation with mixed feelings. Relief that Elijah was getting care. Resentment that money solved so easily what had crushed her for months. Fear of depending on someone who'd left once before. You didn't have to do all this, she said one evening after Elijah fell asleep. Yes, I did. Jae-sung looked exhausted despite his expensive suit. I have 5 years to make up for. Money doesn't fix abandonment. I know, but it's a start. He paused. I need to tell you something about why I left. I don't want excuses. It's not an excuse. It's the truth you deserve. Amara sat, arms crossed defensively. Jae-sung took a breath. I'm not a businessman, Amara. I run a criminal organization in Seoul. Money laundering, protection, territory control. My world is violent, dangerous. People I love become targets. He met her eyes. My mother was killed by my enemies when I was 12. Used to hurt my father. I couldn't let that happen to you. Amara processed his words in stunned silence. You're a criminal? Yes. No apology in his voice, just fact. So you left to protect me? Yes. Did it ever occur to you to let me make that choice? Amara's voice shook. To trust me with the truth instead of disappearing like a coward? Every day for 5 years. I don't know if I can forgive you. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to let me save our son. Amara stood, pacing the small waiting room. What happens after? You save Elijah, then what? You disappear back to your dangerous world? Leave him heartbroken? No. Jae-sung stood too. I'm staying, for as long as you'll let me. I want to be his father. And the danger? The enemies? I'll handle it. I've kept people safe before. But
It's
even as he
okay.
said it,
You're safe
Jae-sung
now.
felt the
I
weight
was
of the
so
lie.
scared.
His
I
enemies
know.
were
I'm
already
here.
circling. That night, his phone buzzed with an encrypted message. Beautiful family. Would be a shame if something happened to them. Jae-sung's blood went cold. He immediately called his head of security. Triple the detail around the hospital. No one gets close, and find out who sent this message. The war had begun, and his family was the target. The first attack came 3 days later, not with weapons, but with paperwork. Suddenly, Elijah's transplant approval was mysteriously delayed. Insurance codes were wrong. Pre-authorization vanished. Dr. Park apologized profusely, but his hands were tied by hospital administration. Something's wrong, Amara said, her instincts sharp from years of survival. Everything was approved yesterday. Jae-sung knew exactly what was happening. Someone with power was blocking the surgery. Someone who wanted Elijah to die. I'll handle it, he promised. Within 4 hours, he'd uncovered the truth. Park Sang-min had bribed 3 hospital administrators to create endless bureaucratic delays. By the time the red tape cleared, Elijah's condition would be critical. Too late for surgery. Jae-sung made 2 calls. The first fired the corrupt administrators and threatened legal consequences. The second was to Sang-min directly. You made a mistake, Jae-sung said when Sang-min answered. Targeting my family crosses a line you won't survive. Sang-min laughed. You can't protect them forever. Eventually, you'll have to choose, your empire or your son. Either way, I win. Then we'll see who's left standing. Jae-sung hung up and made a decision. We're leaving Chicago tonight. I'm taking you both somewhere safe. Absolutely not. Amara stood firm in Elijah's hospital room. I'm not running to Korea with you. This is our home. Your home isn't safe anymore, Jung argued. My enemies know about Elijah. They'll use him to hurt me. Then deal with your enemies. Don't drag us into your war. You're already in it. His voice rose, then softened when Elijah stirred. Please, Amara, I can protect you better in Seoul. The best doctors, complete security, everything Elijah needs.
Her condition has
In a criminal
stabilized, but we
empire,
need to run more
Amara's
tests.
laugh was
Oh,
bitter.
thank you, doctor.
That's your
I'm
idea
so
of
worried.
safety?
It's okay.
It's safer than
Her
here with
condition
targets
has
on your
stabilized,
backs.
but we need to run more
They
tests.
stared at each other,
Oh, thank you,
deadlocked.
doctor. I'm so
Then Elijah
worried. It's
spoke
okay.
weakly from the bed.
We're running
Mama,
more
I'm
tests for the
scared.
results.
Amara rushed
Is she
to
going
him.
to be okay?
I know, baby.
We'll know
I
more
know.
soon.
Can we go where Daddy says? I don't want the bad people to hurt you. Out of the mouths of children. Amara closed her eyes, feeling the last of her control slip away. If we do this, I have conditions. We stay only until Elijah is healthy. Then we come home. Agreed. And you don't make decisions about our son without consulting me. Ever. Agreed. And if you disappear again, I'll hunt you down myself. Jae-sung smiled slightly. I believe you. And agreed. 17. The surgery was scheduled for Seoul National University Hospital, the finest medical facility in Asia. Elijah was stable enough to travel on Jae-sung's private medical jet. The flight attendants were actually nurses. The pilot was former military. Every detail was controlled, protected, safe. Amara watched her son sleep in the hospital bed converted for air travel, hooked to monitors that beeped reassuringly. This was insane. Flying to Korea with a man she barely knew anymore, trusting him with their son's life. But what choice did she have? Jae-sung sat across from her, working on his laptop. Even exhausted, he radiated power. She'd forgotten how commanding his presence was. Tell me about him, Jae-sung said suddenly, closing the laptop. What? Elijah. Tell me everything I missed. Amara's throat tightened. Where to start? He said his first word at 10 months. Mama. He started walking at 13 months. Loved dinosaurs at 2, switched to basketball at 3. He plays basketball? Played. Before he got sick. Her voice cracked. He was so good, Jae-sung. Fast and fearless and full of joy. He will be again. I promise. And looking into his eyes, Amara wanted desperately to believe him. Seoul was overwhelming. The city lights, the language barriers, the sheer foreignness of everything. But Jae-sung's penthouse was a sanctuary, spacious, comfortable, with a room already prepared for Elijah, complete with toys and books. "How did you?" Amara started. "I had 3 days to prepare," Jae-sung said simply. "I wanted him to feel at home." The surgery was scheduled for the next morning. Jae-sung was the donor. His kidney, his blood, his sacrifice. "You don't have to do this," Amara said the night before. "There are other options. Donor lists. He's my son. There are no other options. What if something goes wrong? What if you—" "I won't. I'm strong, healthy, and determined to watch my son grow up. This is happening." The surgery took 11 hours. Amara paced the private waiting room, praying in ways she hadn't since childhood. Jae-sung's associates filled the space, dangerous men who spoke in hushed Korean but looked at her with unexpected respect. Finally, Dr. Kim emerged, smiling. "The transplant was successful. Both father and son are stable. Recovery will take time, but the kidney is functioning perfectly." Amara collapsed into a chair, sobbing with relief. Jae-sung had saved their son, given Elijah his future back. How could she not love him for that? 2 weeks later, Elijah was sitting up, color returning to his cheeks, laughing at cartoons dubbed in Korean. Jae-sung recovered in the next room, visiting Elijah daily despite doctor's orders to rest. Amara watched them together, her son asking endless questions, Jae-sung answering with patience she'd never seen in him before. Father and son learning each other. "Mama," Elijah said one evening, "can we stay here? I like it. And Daddy's here." Amara's heart clenched. "We'll see, baby. Let's focus on getting you strong first." Later, Jae-sung found her on the penthouse balcony, looking out at Seoul's glittering skyline. "Thank you," she said without looking at him, "for saving him, for giving him part of yourself. I'll never be able to repay that." "I don't want repayment. I want a chance." He stepped closer, not just with Elijah, with you. "Jae-sung, I know I don't deserve it. I know I destroyed your trust, but I'm asking anyway." He took her hand carefully. "Let me prove I've changed, that I can be the man you needed 5 years ago." Amara looked at their joined hands. "I'm terrified. Me too. What if you leave again?" "I won't. I swear on Elijah's life." And finally, Amara let herself hope. 6 months later, Elijah ran across the park, healthy and whole, chasing a soccer ball with the energy of a child who'd forgotten what sickness felt like. Jae-sung had converted several of his businesses to legitimate operations, still powerful, still formidable, but cleaner, safer for his family. Amara had started teaching English at a university, made friends, built a life. She and Jae-sung were taking things slowly, dates, conversations, rebuilding trust, brick by careful brick. "Mama, Daddy, watch me," Elijah shouted, kicking the ball perfectly. They cheered together. Later, as the sun set over Seoul, Jae-sung pulled Amara close. "I love you. I never stopped." "I know." She looked up at him. "And I'm starting to love you again. It's terrifying and wonderful and complicated. Good things usually are." He kissed her forehead. "We don't have to rush. We have time now. Promise me something. Anything. Promise you'll never make decisions out of fear again, that you'll trust me with the truth, always, even when it's hard." "I promise. No more running, no more hiding, just us together, figuring it out." Elijah ran back to them, throwing his arms around both their legs. Family hug. And standing there, father, mother, and son reunited against impossible odds, Jae-sung understood what he'd been missing all along. This was worth more than any empire, worth more than pride or power or control. Love, family, home. Finally, he was home. The end.